Yo, 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 what is going on, you guys? It's the Sticky Buttons podcast here, and we're back, your favorite internet radio show on everything gaming, the games we love. It's your host, Brandon.
And this is Blake. And we have got a crazy episode this week. I'm really excited about it. But I guess just to start it off on maybe, I guess, a little bit of a not so hype note, both Brandon and myself are boycotting the video game industry this year. We're not buying any new games. And in part, we were doing that because of all the layoffs in 2023. And unfortunately, this is the second episode of the new year. There have been a ton of layoffs in 2024. So we just wanted to shout that out. Our hearts go out to everyone affected. There have been 18 rounds of layoffs this year already in the industry from some
Wow.
big players, including Twitch. And it's bringing the estimated total for this year to over 3,200, which is already 30% of all the jobs lost in 2023. So we're
Sheesh.
not even out of January and already at 30% of the jobs lost in 2023. So, it's not the best time in the industry. So we're checking out older games this year. We're boycotting and not supporting the industry. And we've still got like so many great games to talk about today. And we're really excited about that. Do you have anything you want to say on the layoffs before we move on, Brandon?
Yeah, it kind of sucks to see that trend continuing into 2024. Hopefully, it starts to curb
Yeah.
itself soon and we see some more hires. But yeah, we're boycotting this industry because it sucks. They make all this money, these companies make all this money off of the backs of these people, and they're not rewarded. They don't have that job security.
Yeah. The people that make the games are really not the ones that benefit monetarily from it in our current system. So that's kind of why we're taking a step back, seeing if there's better ways to play and just kind of, I guess, telling you about that whole journey. And I think right now we're still in January, but right now we're just kind of checking out games that we already own that maybe we just haven't gotten to talk about on the show. So yeah, kind of start off on a bummer note, but we've got some great things to talk about today. So let's just move right along. That's all right with you.
Definitely. Yeah. Where do I start? I have so many good games I'm bringing to the
Ooh,
table.
I'm so sorry. Before you start, I want to shout some out before we
Go ahead.
forget. We started a Discord and we shouted it out in our Game of the Year episode and we forgot to last week. So if you want to join our Discord community, it's something that's available to anyone. The link is in the description of the show notes. Feel free to join us. Both Brandon and myself are on there. There's also all of our guests have joined and a lot of other people as well. So it's been a lot of fun. I've been posting like some news updates, and if I finish a manga, we've got like a manga channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, please join us there. Truly, if you're listening to this, like please join us. Feel free. That's what it's there for.
Join the community.
And sorry to step on your feet here, Brandon. The Art of Rally, which was one of my games of the year for last year's GOTY list. That game just released this past week on iOS for $4.99.
That's awesome.
Obviously Brandon and myself are not buying new games right now, but we just wanted to shout that out. It's an indie developer, and it's $4.99 on your iPhone.
That's awesome. I definitely feel like that's a good game to play on your phone.
Absolutely, especially if you have like a Backbone controller, or even if you don't. That game it's so pretty that is just going to be like such a chill, like it's such a great platform for it. Truly, like when I would get on to play, like it was just to like chill out. So is really just like a vibe game. Like throw on a podcast, throw on some lo-fi beats, and just kind of drive around great landscapes.
The Art of Rally on iOS and Android, I'm assuming too.
I'm assuming Android. I haven't checked. I would assume so. But all right, Brandon. All you. It's all you. Tell me what you got today.
So I've been watching a lot of football recently, tuning into the playoffs, some really good games. Last night I had the pleasure of watching the Chiefs against the Bills, which is a really good game. And all this football I've been watching has been kind of motivating me to get on Madden 24.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a game I play on and off every year. And I've been having a really good time playing head-to-head matches on the Ultimate Team mode. It's pretty much you assemble your own team of NFL players, whether they're, legends, current roster. You can create any team you like. And I've been having a lot of fun there, head to head, matching up my team against other teams. I've been playing some MUT squads. That's my
Okay.
ultimate team squads. Essentially, you can get two friends and go up against three other people, and you kind of combine the forces of your teams. And that's been really fun. A lot of really good rewards from playing those modes. The game really does a good job of incentivizing you to check out those modes. And I've just been having a great time on Madden. It's kind of become like a daily ritual almost of just
Oh,
like
nice.
checking out the marketplace, seeing what packs they're giving. They're usually giving like a free pack every day. It's just one coin, which is like coins are super easy to get.
Okay.
And you can luck out and get like a really high quick sell value player. So let's say you get like a 79 overall, but they'll quick sell for like 50,000 coins, which is really, really cool. I've been trying my luck there. If there are any packs that are at a really good discount, I'll pick them up. It's really a pay to play game, which is rough,
Mm,
and supporting EA is not like the best feeling. I've just been having a really good time getting my team up to speed,
hmm
competing with some of these people. A lot of people have really good cards, like 95 overalls, 96 overalls, but it feels really good when I still manage to win with my 90 overall team
hmm
just because of my skill level in the game. So it's, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
Nice. Do you think that if we weren't kind of doing this boycott, do you think you would have bought some packs or bought some players?
Yeah, I probably would have added some coins and gone in and bought some packs because they
Hmm
really incentivize that because you can get some really good players. It reminds me of
hmm
when I was a lot younger and I would collect like trading cards, and it's kind of the same deal.
hmm
It's really fun.
So, are you mainly just playing online, or do you have like a group of friends that you compete with?
I typically play with my friends, like we'll play, me and my friend, shout out to my friend Matt, we'll do like a one on one, pitting up our teams against each other, and he's gotten me beat many times, but as of late, due to the grinding I've been
Hmm
putting in, I've kind of gotten the hang of it, and I beat him the last two times we've played, and that's kind of been like pushing me to stay on the grind so my team is better than his team. But sometimes we'll come together and complete solo challenges where you can pretty much you have like a random goal like pass for 250 yards or like score a rushing touchdown in less than 3 plays, and you kind of will merge your teams to complete a solo. Or MUT squads, we can both go online, pick up a third random person, and just go up against three other people and just head to head playing with my team, putting them up against other teams that are usually much better than my team because I'm not putting money into the game. But yeah, I'm having a really good time with it.
Oh yeah.
And I think I'm going to have to skip out on Madden 25 for the latter part of the
hmm
year. So it'll give me some time to decide if I want to continue to play Madden. But
hmm
I had to delete 2K, NBA 2K, to make space for it because the storage on my PS5 is just it's 500 gigs. It's not holding up. There's some other games that I really really want to hold on to, like GTA 5, for
You
example.
haven't gotten one of those SSDs yet?
No, not yet. I haven't gotten the chance to make that investment, but it's definitely something I need to look into.
The prices are coming down. I mean, I haven't looked in a while, but I've heard some grumblings that they're not as expensive as they were.
That's
So
good.
I definitely think it's worth the investment because once I did mine, I was like, I can just like record gameplay, not have to worry about it, like keep clips, and that's something that I feel like always just took up so much space, especially on like if you've only got like 500 gigs, like the clips and stuff, like those gotta go, you know.
Yeah, I always delete those to make space
hmm
for new games.
Yeah, just having to deal with that's a hassle, so you should definitely look into that. It's like 100, 150, I think, for like a terabyte. But I guess back to Madden. If you haven't, I guess, played the franchise in a while, what are some things that you think 23 does good or it does well? Do they have any like standout features if you haven't played in one or two iterations or I guess picked up one in a while? I mean, yeah, me personally, I haven't played in a while.
That's a good question. I wouldn't say that there really are, but I also wouldn't really know because I only really play Ultimate Team.
Okay.
And it's really one of those like copy and paste games because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what can you really change? Like the format kind of has to stay the same. It has to be like a football game with the same rules, regulations. I would say something that I dislike is that certain cards are not available. like my favorite NFL quarterback ever, Cam Newton. He's not in the game anymore.
Why is that?
I don't know why. I think it might be because he started his own kind of podcast, which is pretty good, by the way. Shout outs to Cam Newton's podcast. I'm not remembering the name right now, but you just YouTube it. And I don't think he's like signed to Disney or any of the, NFL platforms. So they're probably kind of like boycotting his stuff, which is interesting. It's upsetting though. I wish I had Cam Newton in the game.
Yeah, that's too bad that he's not in. I'm not super familiar with him as a player. Why are you drawn to Cam Newton?
I saw him do some crazy things when he was on the field, dude. Like one of the things that comes to mind is like he would like backflip or front flip into the end
Oh,
zone, like over a
yeah, I've seen
defense,
that.
and he's just a really good scrambler. Like whenever the defensive backs put pressure on him, he can just run right out of the pocket and really throw a defense off. So it made for some really dynamic plays, some really exciting games.
That'd be fun to watch.
Definitely, yeah. I was a huge Panthers fan as a kid.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so now I have Luke Kuechly, who's a middle linebacker for the Panthers. I don't think he's playing anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he puts in work on my team.
Oh yeah, man. Have you played fantasy football? Are you into that?
I used to play fantasy football. Kind of just became one of those things where it's like a bit time consuming, and I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
always be in that like football mode, especially because I enjoy a multitude of sports. So yeah, I haven't played fantasy football in about 2, 3 years.
Oh man. I mean, I don't think this has come up between us, but I played fantasy football this season.
Yeah. How are
did
you
I
doing?
tell you about this?
No, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh. Well, so as you probably know, I mean, Brandon definitely knows, but if you're a listener, I'm not like the biggest sports fan. I like it. I don't feel the need to keep up with all of the players. I mean, I follow the news on the sports broadly. Like, I was really interested in that, like that Saudi league for golf. I don't even remember what it's called now. I generally like. There's a couple of players that I like. Honestly, I think Erin, my girlfriend, probably knows more football players than me, just because of like the Kelsey brothers and
Taylor Swift and all that.
yeah. So, but I did see more games than I normally do this season. Aaron's family, they're Eagles fans, so I was.
They're Eagles fans. That's a good team. Are you a Detroit fan? Because Lions could win. They could,
I know
and I
it's
love
the
your
first
story.
time in like 25 years, and I should be rooting for them, but I fucking hate the Lions. But as somebody from Michigan, I am very happy that they've made it this far.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try and log in and so I can tell you my team.
The Michigan college football team won this year. They went
Yeah, it's been a
undefeated.
great year for Michigan sports. They won the championship. All right, so you ready for my team?
Yes, let's hear it.
So I've got the one of the best quarterbacks in NFL, Pat Mahomes. I got him.
Okay. Yeah, he's
So that's my
been.
quarterback. Happy about that. For my running backs, I also had. Oh man, I feel bad. Who's the Kirk Cousins? I had Kirk Cousins at one point. I drafted him. He's the quarterback for the.
He's your backup quarterback.
He was my backup quarterback, and he was on the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah, and I traded him. I think for a running back or something. So I've got for my running backs, I've got Miles Sanders, Kyrie Williams. I've got Devontae Pierce, and I don't know if you would know this player. I actually wasn't familiar with him until I got him. Brian Robinson Jr.
Brian Robinson. He's a running back
He's in
for
the
the
Commanders.
Commanders.
And then for running backs, I've got Devontae Adams, DK Metcalf. I think I'm saying that right from the Seattle Seahawks.
You mean wide receivers?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, wide receivers.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is a great
Yeah,
receiver.
wide receivers. My bad.
Metcalf is awesome.
Yeah, he's good. I've got Marquise Brown and Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh man,
That's honestly probably what cursed my team.
yeah.
And I've got Darnell Mooney, who I think is kind of a bit of a rookie, and Michael Wilson, who's also a bit of a rookie. And then I've got. Oh, also I had Joshua Kelly. He's also I think a bit of a rookie. And then I had Kyle Pitts as my tight end.
Okay.
I also had Terry McLaurin from the Commanders, who's a running back. I had him as my flex player. I think I got a pretty good lineup. I think I did pretty all right in the draft.
Sounds like a mean team. I mean, if you had that in
Yeah.
Ultimate Team, you'd be cooking.
So, would you like to guess my record? So there's 14 games.
I'll say you're maybe like 6-8.
I would have loved to have been 6-8, Brandon. I ended this season last in my league, 0-14.
Oh, what? Damn, Blake.
I had like the craziest luck. I walked into a couple like Mondays. I was like, all right, I'm gonna win this week. I think the one that hurts the most for me is like it was against my boss, and he had the kicker on one team for the Monday night game. He had the kicker on one team and the defense on the other. And between the two of them in that game, he got like 30 points, like 3-0.
Wow.
It was just like, I'm like, there's no way he's going to beat me with this. Like, in order for him to beat me, he would need to have like the craziest thing. The defense would have to like absolutely pop off on this one team. And like the kicker would just have to have an amazing game. And that is exactly what happened. And I had the most points scored against me in the whole league. Just got wrecked. Didn't win a single game.
That's rough,
It
dude.
hurt my pride a little bit because I was like, I feel like I drafted a good team. I like did some
Yeah,
research. I feel like I got some good players.
you got some really good players. That roster should have gone well, but unfortunately for fantasy, some of those players did kind of sell this season. But I want to ask, does your league have any prizes for first place or vice versa, a punishment for last place?
Thank God there was no punishment for last place, but it was $100 to buy in, and I think second place gets a little something, but first place gets like $900, I think. So it's a
That's
pretty
awesome.
yeah, it's a pretty cool work league. I will definitely be joining next year. I actually did fantasy baseball this year as well. I did better in fantasy baseball, so I think I may
Okay,
have to.
that's good. That's reassuring.
Yeah, I actually really like fantasy baseball because you really have to check it every day. You
Yeah,
gotta. I thought it was fun because it was like 5 minutes every day. Just check in, make sure your team's good. And actually, I also want to say both this in my fantasy baseball season and my fantasy football season, I got incredibly lucky with injuries. And I feel like that is just one thing that just, it's very hard to have a team that doesn't have a lot of injuries. And thankfully, I really
that's
didn't. I
it.
mean, there's a couple times you had to manage it here and there, but I didn't have to like drop my star player, because they tore their Achilles or anything. So.
Well, let's hope for Blake to make a comeback next season and go
Yeah,
14 and
yeah,
0.
let's hope 2024 is a better fantasy year for me. Uh, Not to derail there and steal your Madden thunder, but
No, that was fun. That was fun. That's kind of the whole premise of Ultimate Team is you kind of like get to do that, but actually like play with the players and try your luck at, besting the other team.
yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun premise because I don't know, it's like a fun, quick, I don't know, kind of thing. And I did enjoy the games more than I had like a fantasy team. So I think that's really what it's about.
That's awesome.
Do you want to go over another game?
Yeah, moving past Madden, let's see. I have been playing a bit more Starfield, so
Okay.
I've gotten my hands dirty again with this corporation, Ryujin Industries. They keep
Oh my
sending me on
gosh.
these shady missions. Like, I've been going to threaten competitors. I've been sneaking into warehouses and kind of tampering with sensitive equipment. I met this really like conceited architect, senior architect. She's very demeaning, and I kind of felt good about messing with her work because
Okay.
like I just wanted to like make some conversation so that I didn't get caught sneaking into like using my digipick to sneak into this place where they were keeping the container with this part. And what happened basically was one of our competitors was making they were designing a ship or an engine that would be 14% more efficient than anything else in the market. And so
Really?
we wanted to kind of throw them off a bit, make them look bad. And so when I was going there, I snuck into the warehouse. I had to dock my ship. I snuck into the warehouse, and the senior architect, she was just like looking at some like work or like some drawings
Like
she had, some
designs or like
designs.
concepts or
Exactly. And she was like, "Are you here to deliver coffee?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. I just wanted to ask you about your work. I was curious about what you're doing here." And she was like, "It seems like you have a lot of time, so can you go get me some coffee?" I was like, "All right. Now I
damn.
don't feel bad about what I have to do." And so I kind of talked her ear off a little bit. I went because I have been getting caught up on missions, Blake. I've been messing up. I've a mission before. I had to go to this club where people were doing this drug. I don't get what, don't remember the name of the drug,
Is
but
it called Aurora?
oh yes, yes, they've been doing that drug, and I was there to speak to someone who was planning to work with a competitor, and we didn't want them to work with them. I had to convince her that maybe they're not the best fit. I kind of brought up some doubts for her, and I just made my. No, what happened was I got caught stealing because
Oh,
I had to take the key card. I went to the bartender, I bribed him to give me her key card, and I went to her room and I kind of planted some damning evidence on the other corporation so that she could see it. And so when I was talking to her, it went well, but when I got back to report to my boss, she was like, "Oh yeah, we heard the work that we were doing doesn't involve stealing." And so they docked some of my pay for that. So I was very careful when I went to the
damn.
warehouse.
So you've been fucking up on Ryujin's
Yeah,
behalf, man.
I've been
And they
fucking
don't
up.
tolerate that, dude.
No, I met the boss's boss, and she was even more condescending. She was like, because my boss was like, "He's the best recruit I've ever hired," and she was like, "He's the only recruit you've ever hired." And I was like, "Damn, she's cutthroat." But she kind of has to be. She's the head of operations, so she has to like see things for what they are. And yeah, so I went and I tampered with that engine. I went
So
back.
you didn't like try and like steal their like designs for the engine. Like you're just going there to fuck up their engine. Like
Exactly,
fuck up with their product.
exactly.
Damn.
So that when they do it, I think they were going to do like a display or they were going to like model it, and it would fuck up when they're modeling it, and it just doesn't look good. They don't get as many investments, and
Dang.
yeah, some shady
Was it
tactics.
like a demo? Like you were like mess with their demo? Like they were demoing the product?
Exactly.
Okay.
I was messing with their demo. They have no clue because I was very sneaky. But dude, the digipicks are a little difficult. Like you really got to be smart with that puzzle.
I loved the Digipix. That was one of my favorite parts about that game. I'm really sad that I never found like how to get a job or like to how to like go through that with Ryujin. I feel like I missed that, but I feel like what I'm gonna do for Starfield is I feel like I'm gonna come back to it whenever I have a better piece of hardware that can run it,
Yeah.
and by then hopefully that'll all be ironed out. But dang, I'm jealous that you get to experience that. But that's kind of crazy. So have you made it through like them demoing it? Like what happened?
No, I need to wait for those results to come in. They just sent me on another mission where I'm gonna have to
Oh,
threaten
so like you don't
someone.
get to see the demo, like you don't get to like see it
No, I
live.
kind of just hear about the news like whenever I report for the next task. They're
Oh,
like, "Oh, this is what happened." And it's only if I ask about it. Like they're not gonna tell me. They're very like reserved. I'm just a
that's
worker.
interesting. Man, I just like imagine like Steve Jobs coming up onto the stand and like I guess like I don't know, have you ever heard this story about like the demo of like the first Mac that had the mouse?
No, I
Have you
didn't,
heard
but I
this?
love the video of when Windows first launched and they were like on the stage dancing. It was such a funny, like that's such a wholesome moment.
Well, I guess yeah, I have seen that. That's funny. It's just so goofy.
Yeah.
Was that Bill? Yeah, that guy's odd, man. But yeah, I think one of the first Macs, the one that had the mouse, when they went out to demo it, and like they had like the startup screen that does like the hello.
Yeah.
I guess that they were having like a lot of problems at the time, like getting that to boot. Like, I guess there was like a lot of like I think this was like a 6 out of 10 chance that it was gonna happen, and a 4 out of 10 chance it was gonna fail. And they were like, we won't know because we're having problems with like whatever it was. And he just like went out there and did it, and thankfully like it worked. But like, what would have happened? You know what I mean? If it
Yeah.
didn't,
They would have lost
like
investors that easily.
that's crazy. It's crazy to like. You fucked that up for the Steve Jobs of Starfield.
I kind of did, dude. And I'm so grateful that
And
my
she's working so
persuasion.
hard. You were just supposed to get her a coffee, man, and you
Nah,
fucked her whole thing up.
listen, I'm glad I fucked her over. But I'm super happy that I invested into the persuasion skill. I can't tell you how useful it has been in these missions where I'm trying to
Really?
like bribe people. This bartender who I was going to try to get the key card from, he was trying to charge me like 1,000 credits for this key card, and I brought him down to 100 just because of my persuasion skill being as high as it is.
Oh, that's
So it
awesome.
feels nice when like you get that kind of return on investment on some of those skill points.
Yeah,
And
because some of those it felt like it was like, I don't know, for me at least, like so much goes into unlocking a skill point that it's like I don't really know if I'm going to use this yet. Like, because it's like a whole ability
exactly,
like I don't
exactly.
have access to. I personally felt like I wasted my persuasion skill a little. Like I put one into the persuasion and I only had the opportunity to use it like once or twice.
Yep.
I guess I just didn't get those kind of encounters, but I did not feel like I ever really made good on that skill in particular. But that digipick one, that was I really enjoyed that. I would go out of my way to do those digipick puzzles.
Yeah, because it can be rewarding. Like some of these missions, I can sneak into certain rooms and like steal things that are really valuable and provide a lot of credits to me that I can then put in my ship or and whatnot. Yeah, I've been having some fun getting back on Starfield. I've just been kind of pacing myself, taking it one mission at a time, kind of forgetting about like where I'm trying to get to and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
enjoying the journey of it. And when you look at it like that, it's really a fun game. It's similar to the approach of Skyrim. Like you just gotta play it through, and then you'll kind of before you know it, you're at a place where you're like, well, I'm way more badass than I was when I first started.
Yeah, on that note, man, I've really felt like in the past like year or two, there's been so many games that I want to check out that I've just felt like this real like pressure to like I don't know, see things through or get to the end. And I really feel like I had like Eastward, for example. This is one that like really hit for me where it was like every time I logged on to play, I was having a great time, but then I'd log off and just feel frustrated because I was like, I didn't make it very far in the game. I feel like I've still got like so far to go, and like a lot of these like experiences, can go on for hundreds of hours. So it's hard to feel like you're making progress in something that's so big, but and I feel like that can be very frustrating. And I feel like I didn't have as much enjoyment of like some games I was playing because I'm like, I want to get to the end of this, like I want to finish it, and I just felt like that was just like so far away that like when I was logging on to play and logging off, like I just was not having a fulfilling time. And it took me a long time to realize that was going on. And I feel like, there's so many games, in today's day and age. I mean, even us not picking up any new games, like I'm still feeling the pressure of like all the games that we have to play and just like realizing that like, hey, it'll come. Like you don't have to worry about getting to the end. Like you should just hop on to play, like hop on to enjoy. I feel like that is just a good reminder to have, in today's day and age, just because there's so many things vying for our attention.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's good to have that kind of mindset just to like, just hop on just to play. Yeah. I guess one question on Starfield though before we move on. Or do you still have your starter ship or have you gotten a new one?
No, I'm still rocking the good old starter ship, the good old Honda Civic, '02 Honda Civic. You know, if it ain't broke,
It's cute, man. It's got some charm to it.
it definitely does. But I'm getting to that point now where I have a bit of credit saved, thanks to all my work at Ryujin. So I might get on the market of buying a new ship soon. But I'm in no rush to. I mean, if I do run into interactions where bounty hunters are coming after me, my persuasion skill has been high enough where I can just kind of get them to leave me alone. Which is it's really rewarding once you're like getting to that point in the game where you kind of like go past that uphill curve
Mm-hmm.
and now you're kind of just like coasting. I feel like I'm kind of just coasting now, just going quest after quest. I'm not really running into too many challenges unless I put myself in those situations. So
Oh man, I never got to that point with it. So I guess maybe someday.
you'll get there,
Yeah.
Blake.
Starfield, dude. I'm happy that you're playing that and that you're enjoying it. I'm excited to hear what's next for you at Reasian.
Thank you. So what's your next game?
Actually, I have a little update to give on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Okay.
So I just want to say, you led me astray, Brandon. You led me astray. You told me to play the story mode to unlock characters. And the
Yep.
story mode is called the World of Light, or World of Light. And would you like to guess how long? I had to look this up because I was like playing. I was like, I'm not making any progress. I've unlocked like one character, which honestly, it's a pretty fun mode, but I was not unlocking characters. So how long do you think it takes to unlock characters if you play World of Light? Like the whole roster, like with the estimated time.
Probably like upwards of 30 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is in story mode.
But yeah, that's my mistake. I'm realizing now I'm looking at, I meant to say the classic mode,
Yeah.
which is like, because when I've played
Yes.
Smash before, that's how I've unlocked them is the classic mode, but I just like,
Is classic mode normally the story? Is this World of Light something different?
it's something new they've done with the last two iterations of Smash Bros. Where they have like this very like theatrical, cinematic kind of
Which that
story that they put
cutscene
together.
is buck wild. That's some of the craziest shit I've ever seen in video games.
It's amazing. It really draws you to the IP. You know, it's just like seeing all those characters interacting that way.
It's crazy. I literally was watching it happen and my jaw was open. I was like, what? I literally was like, what is happening? Like, how is this like, what is it? Ultra Hand? That's
Yeah,
not it. What's it
Master
called?
Hand. There's Master Hand and
Master
Crazy
Hand.
Hand.
Yeah, Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, just seeing them just absolutely consume the entire universe and then make clones of Mario that you have to fight to free. And they have like red eyes. They like basically like imprison the video game character,
Yeah,
steal their soul, and then like 3D print them.
it's
And then you have to
insane.
fight that to free the. It's absolutely buck wild. I could not believe it. So I guess just for that alone, I'm glad I checked it out. But classic mode is where it's at to unlock the characters. I've been doing really good. I've made some great progress. And I've also on that screen there's kind of a like a window, or maybe not a window. It kind of looks like gates opening. It kind of looks like the gates that you would see like when you get to heaven, like how those are like depicted in media where it's like these
Yeah,
big golden gates that you kind of open.
yeah.
That's like there's like an icon like that and you click on that to do rematches against players you've lost against. So I just wanted to say that I think last week or I was saying that there was somebody that was really bummed about not getting. And that person was, I have them now, Zero Suit Samus. I was sad about not getting them. I now have them as a character.
Yeah, she's
I
awesome.
actually really like Zero Suit Samus. And I don't have a main yet. I'm still searching for a main. I've unlocked a lot of characters. I guess my main was kind of Star Fox. Actually, I've kind of been bouncing in between three others right now. I've been playing as Bayonetta a lot.
Okay.
I've been playing as Pokemon Trainer. I feel like I've got to have, like, I'm trying to pick a sword character. A sword character that's not Link. I guess I should be a little more specific. There's Shulk, which I think they're like a character from Xenoblade
Xenoblade
Chronicles.
Chronicles. Yeah, yeah. Shulk
Hmm.
has that like red blade that's like really like intricate. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's his up B allows you to pick between like you can get like a jump buff or like an attack buff or like a defense buff, and that's kind of like on a recharge. So I think they're a very adaptable player. The problem is I really like characters that have a very like mobile up B. I found that about myself. And I feel like just because they have like a variety of options, they don't have like I mean when you hit jump, you have this I've been very scared to go close to the edges because if you are falling, you have to like select it and then do the up B.
Right.
And I feel like it's just basically like up B twice. I don't know. I just feel like I haven't quite gotten there with them yet. But I don't know. I feel like I'm progressing still. I've taken the controls. I've switched the controls on my controller. I've made it so that Y is shield and my left trigger is grab. So I've got right trigger is what are the triggers normally in Smash? That's shield
Yeah,
and then the
the
bumpers are
bubble.
grab.
Yeah, the bubble and grabbing. I love doing that with Samus because you do like a shock
Yeah, you like
grab
shoot.
and then you can
Yeah, yeah.
whack them with your other like hit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I changed it so that when you hit up on the left analog stick, you don't jump. So I think that was a good move. And I'm happy to report that I have won my first online match.
That's awesome. Was it a 1v1 or was it like
It
one
was a
free for all?
1v1.
Okay, that's really
So let
cool.
me break this down for you. Honestly, I think it's kind of a really fun story. So I was playing as Pokemon trainer. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give them a try. Like I'd kind of like I did the classic mode with Pokemon trainer. I kind of figured out their move set, and then the next day, I was like, I'm just gonna hop in fresh. Like I'm not even gonna like do any like warm up this morning. Like I'm just gonna get right into it. And I wish I would have done a little warm up, but I didn't. It is what it is. So I get into this match. It's like one of the four-person
Free for
battle
all.
royale. Yeah, it's like a free for all, and it's me and I don't remember who the other two players were, but it was me as Pokemon trainer and there was a Lucario, and I don't remember quite what happened in the first match, but I remember that like me and the Lucario kind of like took everybody else out. It was like Pokemon, like we're fighting each other, and then like we were fighting the other two, and then I hit rematch. They hit rematch too, so it was me and Lucario, and he beat me, but he like barely beat me. So I guess the other two players dropped off. It's just the two of us, and he beat me in like the first round, but it was like close. And then I hit rematch again, and honestly, it was my error. I fell off the map, and then I killed him. I took like one of his lives, but then I was like kind of at a disadvantage, and I almost got him again, and then I fell. So it's kind of like I really it was just like it was my fault. So two of the lives I fell off the map, and then we're back to three. Third time we rematched. It was I don't know. He definitely beat me, or I guess they definitely beat me. Lucario beat me, but I'm still here. Like I'm learning. Like I feel like I've got it. I feel like I've got this. It was very much like I felt like a little bit of a rivalry going on, and I think they beat me four times, three or four times, and then we got into the next match. I wiped the floor with them, kicked their ass, and I hit rematch, and I was like, all right, let's go again. Like let's see how long we can keep this going. They didn't ready up again,
You must have really
so.
messed him up, Blake.
I feel like I had like a true rivalry, and it was just like awesome because it was Pokemon. I feel like I met my true rival, and then I lost, and then I kicked their ass. So that's
That's
my first
awesome.
win.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It seems like you're a quick learner. You're not going to get beat too many times.
Well, I don't know. I've been struggling to find a player or character that I like. And I actually like, man, I don't know if it's been like curving me or there aren't as many people playing or I don't really know, but I feel like I've been holding my own in online. But I went up against this one like Pac-Man, like somebody playing as Pac-Man. They were on another level and they kicked my ass and they were kicking everybody's ass. And like you could tell that that was their main. They knew that move set and like they're doing really well. So I don't know. I'm not giving up hope, but also there's so many characters. I don't know how many I've unlocked, but I feel like there's still a lot more to go. Although I will say that I don't think I like Star Fox as much anymore because Star Fox is they're a very quick character, but I feel like the online matches are just already very quick. So I feel like everybody is just moving quicker than like against like CPUs, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I felt it was very hard for me to kind of like, and I feel like with Star Fox, I kind of wanted to like play them at a distance, and I feel like I was really struggling to play him at a distance. But if then like when things got close, like I feel like I couldn't hold my own. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely. That'll happen with the smaller fighters.
Yeah.
So you got to really learn how to chain moves. Have you gotten into a fight where someone like tosses you into the air like a potato and they don't let you get down? Like they just keep hitting you up? That's the worst.
I think I've been caught in a mini one, but like yeah, I have not been caught in like a really bad one yet, but I have like in the classic mode, I've been able to catch some of the CPUs in those and kind of like chain a couple hits, but like nothing crazy. But yeah, so we'll see. I guess right now I really like Bayonetta because their side A's or the right joystick. That move. It's very well telegraphed, but that one is I think really powerful up close.
Definitely.
And I like that because it kind of like opens a portal and then like a big hand comes down or like a big foot goes up or down. And I don't know. I'm not crazy about the way that the character looks. Like I don't actually like the character all that much, but I like the way that they fight. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I haven't tried everybody yet. I've unlocked a couple sword characters that I haven't tried, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see where you go. My little sister mains Bayonetta and she's just She gets very, very annoying with some of those moves. It's just like the spam, like the one where she like gets on her head and like puts her legs to the side and shoots.
Oh, that's B. Yeah, that's the side B.
That
Or I'm
was so
sorry, I'm
annoying.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, that's like the distance one. Like if you have like Link, it's like the bow.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I like characters that have that. I actually Bayonetta's is very interesting because, like for example, like with Star Fox, they shoot basically like in the middle of their body and they shoot straight. So if you're on a parallel level with somebody, like you can hit them with Star Fox. With Bayonetta, their legs are at an angle, so they kind of shoot like upward, so they don't shoot straight.
Yeah,
I've been able to catch somebody in like the shooting animation because like it's far enough away that like you can catch somebody in it. It's like multiple hits, so I think they do like two or like if you do one side B, it like shoots two or three bullets, but then it like pauses and you have to do it again. It's harder to hit people at a distance, but if you can kind of get it like in that middle to close range, like you couldn't really mess somebody up because you can kind of like pause them there. It's kind of more of like I don't know. I kind of think of it as like a spacing thing.
right.
Oh man, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm very glad that I gave this genre a chance. I mean, this is my first fighting game. That you're new to the show. I'm really liking. I don't know. I'm liking how it develops. I'm liking how it plays. It kind of feels like each character. I don't know. This may be like a silly metaphor, but it kind of feels like you're playing an instrument. You're kind of like learning how to play that instrument against other people, kind of.
I like that metaphor. That's a good metaphor. The song of battle, if you will.
Yeah.
You're learning how to play. But back to Bayonetta and that move, like the way that her legs shoot at an angle kind of stops the jump. Because a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of,
So if somebody's jumping like off the edge, or like if they're jumping from the edge, like back up, you can like hit them. Oh man,
yeah,
I really wrecked somebody in online. I didn't win, but I did a lot of like damage to him. Like I kind of caught him there, and then I hit him with the side A, and man, I don't know. Something's been awoken in me, Brand. I think I'm a fighting game fan.
no, I'm glad you're having a good time. And Super Smash Bros. Is definitely one hell of a gateway drug into fighting games. So I'm excited for you, dude. We got to get in some matches. It's been a while
Yeah, we
since
can do
I
two
got
v
on the
two
sticks.
online, so I
Yeah.
have to hop in. And your main Samus, right?
Yeah, I like Samus a lot. I like Little Mac. Little Mac is really fun. You just
Okay.
knock people out. Who else do I like to play with?
Do you play as Dark Samus?
No, I really play as Samus. Just regular Samus.
Why not Dark Samus?
I don't know, I just don't like the movesets on Dark Samus as much. They're very
Are they
similar.
that much different? I guess I assume they were very similar.
They are very similar, but there are a few minor differences where I've gotten so used to Samus over the years that I like the good old I just have that kind of by memory, the timing and everything. Who else do I like to play? Oh, and also the guy from Final Fantasy. What's his
Oh,
name again?
Cloud?
Cloud. Occasionally, I like to play with Ness as like just like a
Okay.
fun character. Do you have one of those characters where you just like enjoy playing with them? They might be difficult to play with, but they're like you just enjoy having a battle with
I've
them.
been really feeling that way with Pokemon Trainer.
Yeah,
I've been really enjoying that. I mean, I feel like Squirtle is awesome. Squirtle's so fast. And they're very small. So they've got a small hitbox and they're fast. And they can like hold their own at a close distance. I feel like the down B, so you down B is switching between you go from Squirrel to Venusaur, and I liked Venusaur a lot at the beginning, like when I first played as Pokemon Trainer, but now I feel like they have the most limited move set. But it's very much like if you're in like a close quarters thing, like Venusaur is the way to go. They're very like they keep it tight. And then Charizard, I've kicked some ass with Charizard.
yeah. Charizard has some strong moves. That Rock Smash is scary.
Yeah. And then his side B and his up B are like crazy. Like I really like those because they you do like a spiral of fire.
Yeah,
Oh, I really like those. But I feel like it's hard to find the time to like switch, like to do the down B and then like switch to the other one. And then like I feel like it's so different to. I mean, I think it would play very differently if you could go from like Squirtle to Charizard, but like getting from Squirtle to Venusaur to Charizard like can be challenging to find that time in a match.
definitely. Especially in an online match where everyone's like they know their characters really well. and they see an opportunity to strike. I mean,
Yeah.
timing is such an important thing in Smash that like people have like mastered like jump canceling because when you jump, you kind of get caught in an animation, but there's a way to cancel that for certain characters. So you save those like
Yeah.
time frames. And it's like when you see like the professionals play this game, like it's all about those like little time frames and finding those pockets of advantage over your the person. It's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've been noticing that, like, for example, like, I've been changing how I jump. So, for example, if you jump and then, like, use a direction and hit the shield, so, like, if you jump direction and shield, and if you do those, like, all in, like, the span of, like, a really close second, you have, like, an iframe where your character kind of, like, they kind of, like, phase out for a second. But like once you do that, you have to hit the ground again before you can jump. So like if you, for example, did that off the edge, it would be over for you. Like you wouldn't be able to do the up B. You have to like ground yourself. So it's kind of like risky. It's like a jump that you can like jump through things, and I don't know if you can like pull it off. It's really cool. I feel like I've pulled it off a couple times. I've been like, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still learning, but man, I'm just having an absolute blast. So,
I love to hear that, dude. We gotta run some matches.
oh yeah, Super Smash. All right, dude. Do you have another game you want to talk about?
Yeah, I've been playing some more GTA. Been getting prepped for GTA 6.
In 2025?
I think, yeah, it's when it comes out in 2025.
Do you think it's going to be early or later in 2025?
Probably later in the year. Honestly, Rockstar has been known to delay releases and really take their time when things are getting released, especially with the advent of all these leakers getting their hands on the content early. So they probably want to switch things up and still have that element of surprise for us. But on GTA 5, I've just been playing online. Been kind of doing the same thing, Blake. I get in my really nice sports car. I just go on. I go in like a ring of grocery store robberies. So I'll go to a deli, and I'll just like stick up the cashier, and they'll like give me like 1,000, 2,000 cash. I get in my car, evade the cops, immediately put that in the bank because if you die with that and just like the cash, you kind of lose that. So I've been incrementally just saving money in the bank. I don't know what I'm gonna buy, but
How
it's
much do you
just
have?
right now I'm at like 800K.
Okay. Do you have like the nightclub and the yacht? Like, do you have like all those things, or are those a little bit above your?
No, it's above my where I'm at right now. I'm not
Okay.
that big of a criminal yet. But I also haven't been doing any missions or things like that or races for money just because I haven't really been playing with people.
Hmm.
And I just kind of get in a random online lobby, try to survive. Dude, there have been some lobbies where I get in and I'm like getting hunted down on like a warship, on like a B-15 bomber. How do you guys get these crazy weapons? Like, it's
You don't stand
insane.
a chance, man.
Yeah, I'm just a small fish in a big, big pond.
Yeah, you know what they say, man. There's always a bigger fish, and
That
there's
is
always
very
a
true.
GTA Online player that has done more than you.
Definitely. There are some people that are just menaces, just absolute menaces on that game. But it's been really fun. It's been great to just get back in there, get back in the ropes. I'd love to do some heists. That's really one of the main ways I used to get money in the game. Is just like joining a random heist lobby, running a heist on the bank, and you can end up with like 250 to like 750,000 in
Hmm.
one good old mission, assuming that everything goes to plan.
Do you risk anything if you do a mission and you like it doesn't go your way?
I mean, just your time. That's about it. Which sucks because these heists can take a while, and like people
How long can
can.
they take?
I would say anywhere from like 20 to like 45 minutes.
Dang. Okay.
And they're like a succession of missions that you have to do with the same crew. And if anyone quits, it makes it that much harder. If people like mess it up,
Mm.
then you kind of lose your progress, or it messes up the share that you get. Yeah, heists are rough. I haven't done one in a while. Neither have I done missions, but those are way better ways to get money than driving around and just
Robin.
robbing stores. It's just the quickest way I could see of getting money in the game without having to like join any lobbies or anything. But yeah, I've been having a good time with
And you're
GTA
just
5.
not wanting to do that because you feel like you don't stand a chance just to like even like just survive really at this point.
I mean, it's more so just me being stubborn. I just don't want to don't really feel like playing that mode of game in GTA right now. I'm kind of just enjoying driving around. I like the freedom of it. That's something I hope I get in GTA 6 as far as like you don't have to wait in a lobby and there isn't like a set like, oh, do this now, and if you die, then that's it, you lose. The mission failed. This is me and my car, and I'm really good at evading the cops. Like I hit the highway, drive on the wrong side of the highway, then I find like an open space and just get over there, hide from the cops. Cops usually won't follow you into like an open field or like backcountry roads unless they have like a helicopter. And that only happens after I've hit up like 5 or 6 stores in succession. Then they put like 4 stars on me and they send out the big dogs to try and get me. I've also been motivated a lot by One Piece, this manga I've been reading with these
Mm-hmm.
pirates. Yeah, GTA has me feeling like a pirate in some sense, modern day pirate,
Hell
just going
yeah,
around
man.
pillaging. It's fun. It's a fun game.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. I want to give it another shot. I kind of bounced off GTA 5. I mean, I've got plenty of time before the next one, so I'm not going to try and rush it, but yeah. I feel like I need to jump back in that arena and give it another go.
Yeah, dude, it'd be fun to take you on some of those grocery store robberies. And we can split some of that loot.
Yeah. Is that how it would work? We'd just like join in the same lobby and we could
Yeah,
like
so
do some missions together?
yeah, we do some missions together. We can do some races. But if we were robbing the grocery stores, I'd be the getaway driver for one. You go in, you get that bag of money, and then you'll be the getaway driver for another one. Get
Okay.
that, and then yeah, kind of deal.
Might have to make that happen, man. I feel like that sounds really fun.
Yeah, just plotting to go around Los Santos and terrorizing these business owners, these small business owners.
Turns from a video game podcast to a GTA crime podcast, a GTA 5 true crime podcast.
I feel like
Actually,
that
that's a
would
great
blow up.
idea.
I really would.
That's like a fun idea for like a stream or something.
Yeah.
You know, there's like all those like true crime podcasts that are like this mystery was never solved, and then like you get to the end of it, and you're like, damn, like they didn't solve it. Gosh, there's so many of those. Actually, I not to totally derail us here, but I listened to one the other day. Oh man, it was sad. It was very sad. Let me see if I can find it. We don't even need it. We don't even need to talk about it. I listened to one. It was like the Daily, like an NPR. Actually, I think that's like a CBI. I don't even know. It was about like this mountain climb. Actually, you would probably find it really interesting, Brandon. It was like a mountain climber. Fuck it, dude. I gotta find it. It was crazy. I'm sorry. I gotta look it up. Let me pull up my Spotify. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's from the Daily. It was from January 7th. And what they do is they kind of have something on Sundays. They call it the Sunday Read. And they basically take like somebody's piece from the New York Times. I think it's from the New York Times. And they kind of just talk about, the artist talks about their article, and then they have somebody read for it. So are you ready to hear about this, Brandon? It's just like a crazy story. Ghosts on the Glacier is the title of this. 50 years ago, 8 Americans set off to South America to climb, oh man, I wish I could remember how to say this, Aconcagua, one of the world's mightiest mountains. Things quickly went wrong. 2 climbers died. Their bodies were left behind. Here is what was certain. A woman from Denver, maybe the most accomplished climber in the group, had last been seen alive on the glacier. A man from Texas, part of the recent Apollo missions to the moon, lay frozen nearby. There were contradictory statements from survivors and a hasty departure. There was a judge who demanded an investigation into possible foul play. There were 3 years of summit-scratching searches to find the bodies. Now, 2 decades later, a camera belonging to one of the deceased climbers had emerged from a receding glacier near the summit, and one of the mountaineering's most enduring mysteries has been given air and light. Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Basically, there's like a NASA scientist and like a bunch of climbers, and they set out to climb one of South America's like biggest peaks, and like two of them died, and the survivors had like contradictory statements, and they found a camera. The camera didn't really tell anything or incriminate anyone, but damn, it was just an absolute crazy story, and it ended really sad because there's really no closure, you know? So
That's kind of scary. You had me at the astronaut from the Apollo mission frozen there. Like, I'm wondering, did
oh,
he just like land from a failed mission or something and get frozen on the way down? Or
no, it's crazy. So I guess not to like spoil the whole thing. Basically, there like nobody was ever incriminated. Basically, there was like a bunch of people that went up on this expedition. It ended up just being the four people at one point because some people got like altitude sickness, had to go back to the base camp, and the woman and the Apollo scientist, they are the ones that died, and then there were two other climbers, and the two other climbers, they're dead. So I mean, even if anything happened, it wouldn't have mattered. But basically, they judge like declared like we need to find the bodies, like they need to be like an autopsy. And I think there was some international pressure as well because like there was like a NASA scientist died on an expedition in this country in South America, and it was just crazy because like the guy from NASA, like he ended up having like he didn't die from this, but he had like this huge like wound in his abdominal region or abdominal region, and the cause of death was a blow to the head. And
jeez,
the woman, they found her body as well, and her cause of death was also a blow to the head. And the people that were guides that found the bodies kind of said like, we've seen mountain accidents. Normally when people fall off mountains, just from the fall, their bodies are like torn to shreds. And they're like, both of these people are like intact. You know what I mean? Like their bodies are intact and they both died from blows to the head. So there's a lot of like, what the fuck happened on this thing? I'll tell you right now, there's no closure. Nobody knows. So before you get into that, it doesn't really end happily. But the cool thing that, or like why this is back in the headlines, is they found her camera, and they were able to develop the film.
holy cow!
And the film was really just of the landscape. So she was like also like a good photographer as well. So that's pretty awesome. Anyways, back to video games, Brandon.
I know. Actually, really quickly, can you look at this link I just sent you on Reddit? I saw this. So I'm part of the UFO subreddit. I hate to go on this tangent, but there's this very interesting
uh,
photo of a specimen that was found in the wild, and it doesn't look like anything from our planet, Blake. I
a
just want to see what you think.
specimen. This just looks like a blurry photo. Okay, hold on. Let me open this in a different browser. All right, I feel like we're in dangerous territory here, Brandon. We were talking about unsolved mysteries.
I
We're on a podcast. We ventured into UFOs.
think this is a good segue into your next title, though, to be fair.
Okay. Do I need to click this extra link?
The one details can be read on the original post thing.
Yes. Yes, okay. I need to open the original post. Okay.
So there are no confirmations at the moment whether the video that this came from is authentic, but it was
Oh,
supposedly
there's a video? I only see a screenshot.
no, yeah, it's only a screenshot, but it was supposedly recorded because the guy like color corrected it and he improved the sharpness.
I
But
guess I
it's
don't quite see what I'm looking at. I guess I can't
but
quite.
it was supposedly recorded by a guy who lives in Eloy Mendez near Varginha. I don't know where that is. While walking in the woods, he came across this being already dead and almost in a state of decomposition. But
Oh,
you should
oh,
remember
I
that
see
the
it.
camera quality in Brazil in 1996 was truly poor. This is from a photo in Brazil in 1996.
Oh, I see it. That's like a face. That's like the mouth and the head, right?
Yeah, that looks like unlike anything I've ever seen.
Hey man, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say nothing, but it could be real if that's yeah. Okay, do you see the stick in the photo?
Yes.
On the left side of the stick, do you see that as its like mouth?
Not really. I'm not too sure.
Oh shoot! Oh my god, I'm sorry. I needed to turn my head. Oh my god, what the fuck? That is crazy.
Do you see the
It's got like
mosquito in this shot? There's like a little mosquito or like a bug on the like left side of the camera thing.
Oh my god, that's funny. I do. Okay, so all right, I'll do my best to describe this photo. So it's very blurry. It kind of looks like a patch of grass, patch of ground, and it looks like imagine, I guess it kind of looks like it's the size of like a human child, but it's got like very like thin arms. It kind of looks like what you would imagine kind of like an alien to look like, except for the fact that it just looks total like imagine like those gray aliens that like you see in like cartoons and stuff. Like I guess they're called like grays if you're in the UFO community. But like it has like a very different like skeletal structure on the head. I could see like hypothetically, I could see if like this existed and somebody saw this, how they would like draw the gray aliens from this. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And that looks like like a body that might have been there for a long time. It seems to be decomposing almost.
Yeah. But it
It could
looks
be
like the
fake.
eyes are still intact.
But just the fact that it was 1996 when that was recorded, and I believe it was off of a VHS. So that's pretty hard to like doctor up and stuff. It's very interesting. I don't know. But
Damn,
again,
that shit's wild. Okay.
good segue into Blake's next game.
I don't know if it's a good segue. It's a segue into another famous science fiction franchise, a game based on the Star Wars license. I'm gonna be bringing, I guess, Jedi Survivor to the show today, and this is kind of rare. I feel like we may have talked about it once, and I just mentioned I was playing it. I've beaten the whole game. I've seen credits. I guess I'm gonna give a full review of Jedi Survivor here, which I feel like we don't always do that on a show. We talk about a game pretty. I mean, I feel like we really have not talked about it, so you probably don't know very much about it, and I've kind of seen the whole thing. So I guess I kind of just want to start from the top that Jedi Fallen Order, this is a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order was one of my favorite video games of all time. And when we started the show, it probably was my favorite video game of all time. I absolutely loved it. I 100%ed it on Xbox. I've played it again on PlayStation. I actually streamed pretty much the entire playthrough. It's on our YouTube. And I made, I guess I'll quote unquote, our most successful YouTube video. It had like 2,000 views on it.
That's awesome.
Actually, I don't know how much it has now. It had over 2,000 views and it like went like a little bit viral, kind of. I posted it at a very good time because it was right before Jedi Survivor came and it was like kind of speculating on the game. And I was just very trepidatious. I don't know, I was ready to get hurt. I'm not really ready to let the game in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like when you have a game like that you're just like so excited, like you just love so much. I don't know, like a sequel, even though it was made by Respawn, which is one of my favorite developers. They're the creators of Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know, I just was not really coming into this with like a great attitude. Like I was ready to be hurt. You know, the industry is just, I don't know, just following it along has really just made me not feel super good about AAA games these days. I guess all said and done, it's a fantastic game, and I really enjoyed it. Just to kind of get that out of the way, but we didn't count it for our game of the year because I did feel like I had to beat it before I would have counted it for the games of the year. Actually, I'm happy that it's not in contention for the game of the year last year, but I guess we don't even have to go there. But I had played 28 hours of it before game of the year, and then, you know, it's January. I've since beaten the game, and I think I ended it around like 39 hours. So, and I feel like I'm a slower player too. So I guess that's like, I guess an additional like 11 hours of gameplay. Do you have any thoughts before? I mean, I really haven't gotten into it. Do you have any thoughts just right off the bat, Brandon? Jedi Survivor.
I could see why you were kind of wary going into it. You know, sequels are usually not that, they usually don't hit the same as the original or the predecessors, so to
Yeah.
say. So I'm really curious to see your impressions of it.
Okay. Actually, I guess to be a little bit more specific, the reason that I was trepidatious is because the first game, it had like a conflict and like it had like a call to action, like a call to adventure, and it was completely resolved in the first game. Like the first game, like from start to finish, was a whole story. They told the whole thing. The story began and the story ended. And then when you're doing a second game, picking up those characters, it's kind of like, where are you going to go? Because you did the whole thing. Like everything you set out to accomplish in the first game, you did. And I actually think that the first game was incredibly epic. And I think that all of the elements, both thematically and narratively, really match the gameplay. It's something that I love in video games. It's something like only video games can do. So coming into this, we knew nothing about the story, really. They're keeping it very close to their chest in marketing material. And it has been since confirmed there's going to be a third game. I will just say this kind of ends on a cliffhanger, kind of. I think they're trying to do the whole Star Wars thing, like make it a trilogy. And just with that, with the Star Wars trilogy, historically, the middle entry is normally the darkest.
I have a quick question.
Do you have a question?
So
also, I can't let this go unsaid that Brandon raised his hand in our our Skype call here. So what's your question?
So you mentioned Respawn worked on this one. Did Respawn also work on Jedi Fallen Order?
Yep, it's the same studio.
Okay.
And they made Jedi Fallen Order. It was incredibly successful. At the time, EA, who owns Respawn, kind of said, wow, this really beat our expectations by a significant margin. So, they immediately got the green light to make a second one. And within a couple months, EA made that statement. They was green lighted to make a second one. The actor that plays the main character, Cameron Monaghan, confirmed they were already working on it. So it was very shortly after that success, they kind of greenlit that.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Who owns the IP to Star Wars? Is it not Disney?
Okay. Yeah, so Disney owns the IP. At the time when Jedi Fallen Order came out, EA had exclusive license to publish Star Wars video games.
Okay.
That had been a decade-long deal, which actually started in 2015. I'm sorry, I guess it would have started before 2015. Let me actually fact check this. But basically, it was 2017. It was 2017 because in 2017, that's when George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. Disney then immediately entered into that contract with EA. It was a 10-year... Well, I guess that wouldn't make sense. Like, time doesn't quite... I'm sorry. I said 2017. I meant 2013.
Yeah. And who owned it before? It was George Lucas.
George Lucas owned it. So Disney acquired the rights to Lucasfilm for, at the time, $4 billion in the form of cash and stock.
Oh my God. That's a lot.
Which in 2012, $4 billion was, that's a lot of money.
No, yeah, that's impressive.
And you have to think that also a lot of that was in Disney stock. Actually, less than half of it was in stock, which obviously appreciated in value. So in 2012, this was an incredible deal for George Lucas. In 2013, Disney entered into a decade-long exclusive video game publishing deal with EA, Electronic Arts, and then that ended in 2023, which is why we've seen some other new trailers and announcements for new games coming out, and why in 2024 there's a new Ubisoft game, Star Wars game, planning to be published.
So now in 2024, it's going to be not Respawn, it's going to be Ubisoft, who now has the partnership. Right.
So they no longer have an exclusive license. And here's kind of the... So yes, they still are going to make the Star Wars games, or the Star Wars... I actually really hate the name of the series. It's truly just Jedi. So I guess it was Jedi Fallen Order, and now it's a Jedi Survivor, so that means that the series is called Jedi, which I just think is kind of weird.
Interesting.
But whatever. So in that 10-year time frame, which I guess technically 2023, this Jedi Survivor counts. So in the time frame of this exclusive deal, there was Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. We think we've talked about this on the show. I love Battlefront 1. I actually was playing it about a week ago. But Battlefront 2, it launched to controversy, to say the least. They had loot boxes, microtransactions, the worst kind, to where they really want to get you in an addicting loop of buying them.
That's EA, right?
That's EA. So in that time frame, I guess it was 2019, It was kind of coming close to the end of that decade-long relationship or decade-long exclusive publishing deal. And at the time before Jedi Fallen Order came out, there were a lot of reports that were going around the industry that were like, EA has canceled more Star Wars games than it's published, and they were really struggling to, which it seems that that is true. And they had announced a couple games that they just never came to fruition. And Jedi Fallen Order just absolutely kicked ass and kind of restored a lot of faith that there could be an awesome Star Wars game. And it had a very concise story. The exploration and the gameplay were just impeccable in my opinion. And I think that Respawn is really good at environmental design. That's one of the things that I really love about it. I think that when you jump into the Titanfall universe, it feels like, I mean, it's Titanfall Apex Legends universe. It has a feel completely its own. It feels like something wholly unique. And I felt the same way when you jump into like Star Wars. It's very striking because when you get into it, there's a lot of like, I think it's called like retro future kind of thing where everything in it looks used, like nothing looks new. And it's something that a lot of people struggle with when they make a Star Wars game or licensed product. Having that feel of Star Wars and making it feel authentic is really hard to do. And they absolutely pulled it off in Jedi Fallen Order. So in Jedi Survivor, I was very kind of trepidatious. One, because there already, before this game even came out, there were reports that it was planned to be a series, like planned to be a trilogy. And anything like Star Wars trilogy related, the middle one is always going to be the darkest. And just to kind of, I guess, give you like a brief overview of the story, the last game ended and basically the whole crew kind of came together and you meet all of these characters and, you know, Cal goes through his own journey, but you kind of start fighting the Empire. And that's kind of how it ends. You're fighting the Empire through the whole game, but you're kind of running from them and only fighting them when you have to. And then it kind of ends and you're taking a stand. Like, you're standing up to the Empire. And in this game, you pick it up, and the character's been doing this for years. So Cal Kestis, the Jedi, they've been doing it for years. And you go on like an opening mission, and you've got a crew. It's not the same crew. I mean, obviously Cal and BD1 are the same, which are the two main characters, but like none of the other crew members are there, and you're kind of like, what's going on? Like, why aren't they here? But like, what? You're just like, whatever. Like, this is a new crew, and like everything goes to shit. And like the mission, like you technically get like you're after some intel and you're on Coruscant, which is like the capital of the Empire. So like you're like deep in enemy territory. Like you've risked everything to get this like bit of intel from the senator, and like your whole crew gets killed. Everybody dies except for you and one other. You make it out, and like you have to like go back. So I guess the ship that you're on is called the Mantis. In the first game, there's a character whose name is Greez, Greez, Greez. It's their ship. It's made obvious that they lent it to you, and now like the ship's busted. You need repairs, and the only person that can repair it is Greez because it's his ship. You're going there, which he's kind of in hiding, so you're kind of like, I don't really want to see him, and you had like a falling out, and it's kind of like you get there and you realize like you're just like so burnt out. And that's kind of the story, is like you've been fighting the Empire for like 3 years, like nonstop. Like your whole crew had a huge falling out, and you're learning about that. You're piecing that together, and you're kind of just exploring the new world and finding a new reason to fight. Because this intel that you gather, like you've kind of been like a guerrilla fighter, and you get this intel, and it's like a map of like the bases, right? Like the Empire's bases, and it's kind of like all over the galaxy. And Cal kind of has this moment. He's like, well, fuck, we lost already. Like, it's over. And that's like right at the beginning of the game. So you're kind of just like, what's this game going to be? And it's really just about reconnecting with your crew and finding like, what is your purpose for existing? Like, are you truly here to fight the Empire? And you end up like meeting some other characters that show you that maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you don't want to spend your whole life endlessly fighting. And you kind of get an opportunity to be a part of Greez's community. It's really awesome just like exploring this like home planet that Greez is on. And I guess this is some of the coolest shit I've ever experienced in a video game, Brandon. So Greez owns a bar, And you can just like go into the bar, like walk up to the bartender who's a droid and their name is Monk, and they are just hilarious. And it's just like you just meet so many characters. Like it's really just like truly about existing in the Star Wars universe. And you meet like so many amazing characters. And I mean, the story is admittedly dark, and I won't spoil too much more of it, but it does not end happy necessarily. And there's a lot more that I want to get into, but I guess, do you have any thoughts on this? It's a grittier entry, but I mean, there's the message of having and finding family is really at the heart of it.
It's very compelling, and it sounds like a story of freedom and liberation. And it makes me think about One Piece, this manga I'm reading, where the pirates are fighting against the world government, who kind of, the mystery is there's a void century of 100 years of history that people are all like compelled to figure out what happened. But anyone who tries to study this history, they get completely obliterated. And so hearing about
What?
this story here, it seems like there are some parallels there as far as, the government, or, what is they called here,
The
the
Empire?
empire having like their own shady history, and they're just trying to like take over and make sure that they don't have to pay for the deeds of their crimes. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's really at the heart of all Star Wars. But it's funny that you bring that up because there's also a whole nother aspect to this where you kind of, in the beginning on this planet that Grease is on, you kind of stumble into a like Jedi archive or a Jedi, I guess a Jedi temple. I guess neither of those are really the right word. It's kind of just like a structure that was made by the Jedi. But it's not necessarily the Jedi that we know from Star Wars. It was the Jedi from the High Republic, which was like 1,000 years before the prequels happened. So like when you think of like Star Wars or like the Jedi at the height of their power, that's kind of where Disney's trying to take the franchise. If you have not been following along or are not a huge Star Wars nerd, that's kind of where they're trying to take the franchise. So it makes sense that there's a tie-in from that era in the video game. But that is something that you get to kind of see, and you see that there's a group, which it's not really about the other group. It's really more about the Jedi. But there's like a really bad group of people called the Nihil. It's actually, I think it's the word Nihil is only mentioned once in the game, so it's really not relevant. But like learning about the past of the Jedi and the mistakes that they made leads into what's happening today. And at the time, the Jedi were looking for like a safe place to, because there was this kind of huge conflict going on in the galaxy at the time, that they were looking for a place to like hide and train Padawans. And that's just kind of like what the Jedi are looking for now, is a place to hide from the Empire and
Right.
be protected. And I guess something that I think is really interesting about this game is that Cal's not the only Jedi that survived, Order 66, and he's not the only Jedi that is in this franchise. I'm just going to say that, as I don't want to spoil too much, but the Jedi from the first game are again in this one, and you get to see what they've been up to. And it's kind of crazy, Brandon, because I'm actually going to spoil this one story. It's very minor, but I think it's really cool, and I think thematically very interesting. So I think it's worth it. The other Jedi, you kind of learn that what they're doing in this greater Star Wars universe is the rift that they had, and the reason they split apart as a crew is because they wanted to have a more peaceful route, and they wanted to, try and preserve what was left of the Jedi Order, try and rebuild the archives, like find the lost knowledge, like try and maintain, the books and collections of the Jedi, while also, if there were refugees, helping move the refugees throughout the galaxy, or like if people were wanted for protecting Jedi, or if they were Jedi that needed to go into hiding. It's something called the Path in the Star Wars universe. And you kind of learn that they create the path, and they're the caretakers of the path, which is just like such a cool bit, because that's like a bigger piece of the Star Wars lore. And to learn that like the characters from this first game that I love were the originators of that, and that the other Jedi in the universe are not fighting the Empire, they're choosing to do other things that are still worthwhile. And I think that that is the question that has been unanswered in so much Star Wars media. Is like, if there were other Jedi that survived Order 66 other than Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, why didn't they help Luke out? Or why didn't they, I guess, just help, the cause of the rebellion? And, like, why weren't they a bigger part of all of the bigger plots? And I think that is really interesting that they tackle that in this game. Like, what are the other Jedi doing? And I think that that's really awesome. I guess I want to shout out some more characters really quick. There's this one character, their name is called Peely, and they're kind of like a botanist, and they're just like this huge, humongous character, and they just love plants. They love taking care of plants, and you find them in the middle of the desert, and that's like, and you come to find out, and like you invite them back to like your home base, and you're like, hey, like I'm trying to grow plants on this planet called Kobo. That's the planet where the majority of the game happens. And you're like, yeah, I'm just trying to grow plants here. Like, maybe you could move all your plants from the desert and transport them to Kobo. And they do that, and then you meet them at the bar. So the bar is kind of like this hub. And Peely is just like, it's just, I don't know, I think Peely's awesome. I mean, I'm a sucker for anything botany related in video games, so I love Peely. There's also, man, I gotta tell you this. There is this, like, imagine crazy alien looking. Oh my gosh, here, I'll just send you a link so you can. So you can, I guess, just see what this character looks like. I don't even really know how to describe them. I'm going to try, though. So they're one of the few characters in the Star Wars universe that have, like, a spacesuit helmet. And they kind of look like an anglerfish, almost. Like a Star Wars version of, like, an anglerfish.
What is this? Scuba Steve.
Scuba Stev is the name of this character. And they're like a fisherman. And I think what's crazy is they're about half the size of R2D2. So they're just like this really tiny character, and they basically fish on the planet. And there's like this huge fish tank in the bar, and you meet Skova Stev out in the world, and you invite him to come back to the bar and to like populate the fish tank, and he kind of becomes the caretaker of that. But he speaks in this like Scottish accent, and it is just like absolutely crazy. I would try to do an impression, but I'm not quite prepared to do that. But he just like has these crazy outlandish like fishing tales from around the world of Star Wars, Skova Skev, and it's just crazy. It's like unreal that this is like a character. They're just so funny. They bring so much
I
brevity
love
to the
how this
game.
character has a starfish on the top of their helmet just chilling there.
Yep. They have, it's honestly, it's like ridiculous and so funny. Skova Stev. Just look them up. They're a crazy character. There's also, I guess, Monk the bartender. They're really cool. I really like them. They're honestly like, when you just like talk to them, I don't know, they're very encouraging to talk to in the game, because they'll like give you really kind of like, they'll ask you like how you're doing, and you'll find like, if you feel the need, you can kind of like, you get like dialogue options. You can say like, oh, like nothing's really going on, or you can like tell them what's going on. And if you tell them what's going on, they'll kind of like comfort you and kind of give you some like great advice. I mean, like, Monk's just awesome. They're very charming and just like a great, honestly, like, imagine the most charming droid, and that's Monk. You kind of meet these two characters. There's a DJ and like a sound engineer. You kind of just meet them out in the world of Kobo. They're like capturing sounds from around the world, and they like come back and make this like crazy electronic music. It's just absolutely insane, like the music in this bar. Like, it's actually like really good. You can look up the Cantina music from this game. It's on Spotify. Like, you just do Star Wars Jedi Survivor bar music. Like, it's all there, and it's incredible. And you kind of like find these tracks throughout the game. There's also these two characters that like somebody like at the beginning, like an early side quest is, hey, there were these like two weirdos that were just walking out into like the most dangerous part of the planet. Would you mind go checking on them? Because like, I mean, they're off-worlders, and like they just walked into Bedlam Raider territory. And I guess the Bedlam Raiders are like another, I don't know, bad guys in this game. So you go out there, you have to like, basically they're about to like get into a really sticky situation, and you just like basically save these creatures, and they talk to you, but they say they're trying to develop a tabletop role-playing game, which is essentially D&D, and they're doing research, and they're trying to figure out their story and who's going to be fighting. And you're just like, what? And then you kind of like they give you like access to their like beta build kind of, and you kind of just say, hey, you invite them to come set up shop at the bar. So then whenever you're at the bar, you can go and play this like turn-based like strategy game at the bar on like one of those hollow tables that like Chewbacca and like C3PO were playing against in the original trilogy. It's something kind of similar to that. Like it's on one of those tables, but it's like a different like turn-based game. And then you have that like something that you can do, and if you complete those challenges, you get like in-game rewards. And it's just like they really went above and beyond here, and they did some crazy things that I'm very impressed with. I do kind of just want to touch on. I haven't touched on this at all. The combat in this game is really what you play it for. The combat's amazing. I can't believe we've made it this far into talking about this game without even mentioning this. But the combat is Souls-like combat. You have a sword, and that's it. The bosses are very challenging. What I want to say about this is like that's one of the reasons I love Jedi Fallen Order. Like it felt amazing to play with a lightsaber. Like it just felt so amazing. It felt like how it would feel to play as a Jedi. And they really did such a good job in Jedi Fallen Order. I was like, what are they going to do here? How are they going to improve it? In Jedi Fallen Order, you had the ability to use a single blade and a double-sided, kind of like Darth Maul. So you really only had two options, which you would think you can have a single blade or you can have two blades. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you'd feel like that's about it. There are 5 stances. So in the first game, there were 2 stances, and then there was a special move. So I guess it's not really 3, but there was a special move you could do in the third game where you took your lightsabers apart and you threw one side of it.
kind of like a boomerang.
Kind of, yeah, kind of like a boomerang. And then you had another at the end of the game of the first one. You had one move that it was kind of like a combo in a fighting game, kind of. Basically, you pulled the swords apart and you did like a slash
I see.
with both of the lightsabers. So in this game, there's the single blade, there's the double sided blade as well. I will say the double sided, and they each have their own skill tree. So I didn't max out all of them, but I maxed out the ones that I liked. So the double sided lightsaber they really made that feel a lot better in this game. Like what you could do with that was just leaps and bounds above what you could do with it in the first game. As soon as I unlocked the others, I just didn't use the single blade because I wanted to use the other ones. So I can't really speak to that one, but it carried me through the beginning of the game. So the double-sided was just incredible. So single, double-sided. You also have the option to do dual wield, which is one in each hand. That was my favorite, or one of my favorites. I pretty much had that equipped the whole game. And I guess really quick how this works. Whenever you're at a rest point, you can equip 2 of the 5 stances, and you switch between those on the D-pad. So if you hit left on the D-pad, you pull out like one of the stances, and if you hit left again, it'll close the lightsaber down. And then if you hit right on the D-pad, it'll pull out the other stance you have equipped. And then if you hit right again, it'll kind of like close your lightsaber down. So that's how you pull out your lightsaber, is on the D-pads. Yeah, so that's 3. There's dual wield, double-sided, single-bladed, and then a character gives you a blaster. So you have the ability to like absolutely wreck people with blasters. And you have the lightsaber in one hand, blaster in the other. So I never played Bloodborne, but people have said that it feels like Bloodborne. So you kind of use the blaster. You can use it as like a parry, or you could use it to like just hold it down, and you could just like shoot like 3 stormtroopers in a row. It was really cool. That was fun. I for thematic reasons, I didn't really use that one very much. And then the last one was kind of like Kylo Ren's, where you got a really long lightsaber and then you got like a cross guard. And the animation, like the way that the fighting style worked, I didn't think I would like this, but I really loved it. You were kind of locked into these big animations where you would take these like big sweeping swings. So you're more vulnerable, but you do a lot more damage. And I really fucked with that. That was like my go-to whenever I was in a hard boss fight. Which you would think the opposite. Like you would think you would want to be quick in a boss fight, especially when you're in a Souls-like environment where all the attacks are very telegraphed. You'd think that you'd want to be able to have something that was very fast. But I loved the cross guard. I loved the slow, sweeping, attacks, which is not how I've ever played Souls-like. So maybe maybe that's foreshadowing to if I check out one of those, maybe I'm going to have to make a big sword character. But yeah, I mean, the combat was incredible. Do you have any questions on the combat?
That sounds amazing. I'm glad that they like iterated on the Jedi Fallen Order combat. It seems like they were really able to figure out what worked and really run with it. Seems like you really enjoyed that process, that experience.
I
Man,
did.
you're selling me on the Jedi game.
Yeah, I mean, this Jedi game is really cool. And I think that I will admit this just because, like, I felt a little bit of pressure. Like, we kind of were talking about earlier in the pod. Like, I wanted to just see the end of it. It was very much like a darker entry. I was not enjoying the story as much as I did in the first game. And I was just like, I just want to get through it. I will admit there was 2 points where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I don't really even want to play this, right? Like, I want to see what happens in the story. I don't want to play this boss fight again. And I put the difficulty down. And I did put the difficulty up when I started because I wanted a challenge and I was so good at the first game. Like, I played it multiple times. I needed to do that. So I deliberately made my parry timing smaller, but like when I got to the point where I was like, I just want to see this game through, I lowered it just a single time, which was to the default. It made the experience better for me. I don't know. I feel like there's still a stigma about changing difficulty, but I'm very happy that I did it because I feel like had that not been there, I feel like I would have just felt frustrated getting through a story beat, but I was already feeling jaded because I didn't like where the story was going, so I was very happy I was able to just drop it down. I guess now is probably not the time to get into the difficulty about, or I guess a discussion about difficulty in games, but it was a great experience overall.
That's amazing, dude. Jedi Survivor sounds like. So would you say that one, that this is darker than Fallen Order, and two, did it do a good job as a sequel?
Yes and no to the second one. So yes, it's absolutely a darker entry. I'm actually still feeling a little bit raw from the story. I actually was really upset when the credits rolled. I was like not feeling it. I mean, like I was just upset about how it ended. And then I guess I will say also it is just absolutely crazy the amount of people that worked on this game because I kind of have this ritual where after I finish a game, I feel like I have to, out of respect for the developers, watch the end credits. The credits were rolling, and then I made dinner, and I ate dinner, and it was kind of like playing in the background.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that the credits were ending, and there was a post-credit scene. And this was like an hour later. I was like, what the fuck? Like, the credits took like truly like almost an hour. Like, I got up, made dinner, ate dinner, like watched like a 20-minute YouTube video, and then like I was like, oh my god, there's an end credit scene. So maybe skip the credit. I mean, I don't know. Do what you want to do. Go with God and skip the credits, I guess. But there was a there was a post credit scene, and that left it feeling a little bit more lighthearted. I felt better after seeing the post credit scene, but I was feeling like very raw and like not happy with how the characters reacted to, I guess, things the story put them in, or I don't know. I guess I just wasn't super thrilled with how the characters reacted, and also like how it ended. But then I feel like the post credit scene made up for it a little bit and left it on a lighter note. So they're definitely doing a third one. I'm excited to see how the trilogy ends. I'm hoping that they end it as a trilogy and they don't try and like milk it. I guess I don't feel like the story needed to be told, but I'm happy that it was told because it had some like cool Star Wars implications. I don't know, but I'm very much in the weeds on that shit, so it was okay thematically and story wise. I think it was okay. I guess, I mean, it ended on a cliffhanger, so I guess we'll just have to see. And in terms of did it like follow up Jedi Survivor, it absolutely followed it up in the combat. The combat's way better, which is crazy. I think that the exploration could be better because they really lock off a lot of it and they want you to experience it in New Game Plus. So there's a lot of the exploration and stuff that I was like, you know what, I'm just not even going to bother with this because I may go back and do New Game Plus. Like, you basically at the very end of the game, you get like a couple other options, like things that you can unlock I guess you get abilities to further your exploration. Like it's very much like a Metroidvania in that way. Where like imagine like if you didn't get that one ability in Metroidvanias where you turn into like a ball, or the morph ball. Imagine if you didn't get the morph ball till the end of the game. They want you to like new game plus it and play it again. And that's kind of how like there are like some. I remember in the very first mission there was like a very obvious like, oh, I'm gonna have to come back here and do this, and I didn't get that ability until the very end of the game. So I think that the exploration was fun. I mean, obviously, I really like the characters. I mean, I've been talking for like an hour. It feels like on like there's Scobus, Gev, and the bartender and DJ at a fake bar. I mean, I really loved that part of it. So yeah, I guess it did. I guess it did hold up.
And one more question. Would you say there's a lot of potential for them to do a good job on the third iteration? Like, did they leave enough loose ends in the story or cliffhangers, so to say?
I don't know. I don't know. The honest truth is I don't know because I feel like yeah, it's on a cliffhanger, but I don't really know what's gonna like. There's no like clear path, in my opinion, for what they're gonna do. I mean, I don't know where they're going, and I think that when you make I don't know, a second entry in the trilogy, you know where you're gonna end up. I don't know where they're gonna end up, so I feel like I don't know exactly why the story took these turns. So I guess it remains to be seen in the next entry, if that makes sense. But I
It
mean,
does.
I don't know. Star Wars right now is kind of you either like some stories or you don't, and I think that some story entries are better than others. So I think it was a little bit of a weaker one, but again, we don't really know where they're going. And the beginning was incredible. So you've got a great beginning point. There are definitely some good parts in the middle, but I mean, obviously, they haven't had a chance to overcome that adversity yet. So we'll see how it ends up, I guess.
One last question. If you had to put a percentage on how likely they're going to go past the third game, what would that percentage be?
Oh man, this is speculation at its highest. Man. I hope they. The honest truth is, I hope they don't. I hope they keep it at 3. The only thing that I would say would kind of leave it at that would give it a higher percentage is it's obviously it's this property is owned by EA or it's developed by EA, and I think this had good critical reception. I don't know quite know how well it sold, so I'm hoping that they just kind of make it a third, like just the third game and end it at that. But the Cameron Monaghan, who is the lead actor
Great
for
actor. Love his work.
for Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, he's like a TV actor.
Yeah, I saw him on the Batman show. He played the Joker, I believe.
Yeah, he's been in quite a few roles. You would definitely like if even as somebody that like is not really very familiar with like the TV, I mean, I guess industry, you would recognize his face.
Yeah, in the show Gotham, he was the Joker for sure.
Apparently, he was in Click too.
Really?
So I don't.
The one with Adam Sandler?
I don't know. I guess so. Yeah, that's what it says. I don't know. I guess he was also in maybe Malcolm in the Middle and Shameless. He was also in The Giver. Yeah, I mean, you would recognize his face. So I think that a lot of people are speculating that they're going to take this character into live action and put him in a TV show, one of Disney's TV shows or whatever.
That'd be awesome.
And they certainly did the casting for that. Some of the other characters as well would go great in live action. I was about to say something about a character, but for spoiler reasons, I can't say anything about another member of the cast. But everybody did a great job, and I think that that's something that's really cool about like AAA Star Wars games is you do really get like the chance for the characters to kind of become something greater, with the budget and time that's kind of devoted to it. So I did really enjoy it. I don't know. I hope they keep it as a trilogy. I hope they keep it as a concise thing, but I don't know. Disney doesn't exactly practice brevity when it comes to their titles, so we'll see.
Well, for your sake, I hope they stop at a trilogy and just keep it at like in a masterpiece. But we'll see.
I think that if they really nailed the third one, I think it would make this middle entry stand out more. And I think they did an amazing job, but I feel like I personally just am not thrilled with the story, but everything else around it was just impeccable and amazing. So That is Jedi Survivor. Go listen to that soundtrack on the bar music. Instead of putting on lo-fi, put that on. You may be disappointed, but you may not be.
I have it ready to go. I found like an hour-long video with Jedi Survivor Cantina music.
Honestly, it's really good. I'm about to listen to some of that.
DJ DDEO.
Yes. Yes. DD. DJ DD. He's a droid too. He's like a gonk droid. So those big kind of boxy droids that kind of like waddle around and go like gonk, gonk. You know those ones?
Yes.
That's the DJ, baby. So
that's awesome. Gotta tune in.
All right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of a incredibly long episode for episode 87. There's more that we had, but I guess we'll save it for episode 88.
88.
Please join our Discord. I think that you'll have a great time. The link will be in the description below. I don't know why I said below. I guess it would be below, but it will be in our show notes. The link to that. I've been watching too much YouTube, man. Hit that bell, subscribe, and like.
Share, comment.
Yes, share, comment with a friend. All right, I almost said share, comment with a friend.
That would be helpful too.
Yes, please. I guess since we're here, if you'd like to leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, that would really help us out. But the best way to help us is to share it with a friend. We have an Instagram and a TikTok, and we have a Patreon as well. And if you join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you get access to our quarterly bonus episode, which quarter 3 for 2023 is up. And you also get access to our Minecraft server. So if you'd like to support us monetarily for as little as $1 a month, you get access to our Minecraft server as well. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, you're awesome.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the best internet radio show on all things gaming and the games we love. We super appreciate you guys. And yeah, share with a friend and stay tuned. Join the Discord.
Yeah. Hope that 2024 is going to be our year. So let's hope that 2024, I don't know. I hope we find blessings in 2024. I'm getting tired here. Let's end this up. Do you have anything profound to say for the end of the episode?
You know, it's an honor to be at episode 87. You know, this is truly a blessing.
It is.
I'm glad we get to get on here and talk about the games we love and just what we've been doing. The strike that we're going on, I feel really good about it. And
yeah, I do too.
Sorry for all the people who, you know, lost their jobs here in the beginning of this new year. And hopefully they can find something else soon, get on some new projects.
Yeah, hopefully they land on their feet.
Best wishes for them.
Absolutely. So I guess that's a good place to end it. Have a lot of optimism for this new year. So I guess we'll see you in the next one. See you in episode 88.
See you in the next one. See you in 88.